Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the reaction log. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, how's it going? Sorry, that was a podcast intro, but we're in the reaction log right now. And what do we got going on? We are doing the same thing that we always do. We're reacting to Charles Cornell. I don't know, I've been getting recommended his videos, and it almost feels like he's the anti-me, which in that, I mean, he's actually the good version of me. And I don't mean like musically or like socially or anything like that, which I'm sure he is much better than me. But I'm talking about his just general attitude. Something that we have in common, we both have Jacob Collier, sorry. His are just super positive and like, wow, yeah, and then mine are like, you know, like you've seen what they are. They're not negative. I'm not given any credit unless I absolutely feel like it's deserved. Which, you know, like who am I to give credit to anyone? No one, but this is my YouTube channel, so actually I am sort of the king here. So welcome to my kingdom, and I will give credit to whoever. Ask for credit in the comments now. I'll give it to you. He has this video that I feel was made for me. He posted it 4 years ago, 2.5 years before I ever started making YouTube videos. It's called Why Musicians Are Sometimes Snobs About Music. He kind of has an erroneous part of the title after that says learning not to be. This is a proper title with capitalization, and then the learning not to be is not. So I kind of feel like it's sort of an afterthought. What are we learning here anyways? I feel like it's not that necessary. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the video and see what he's got for us.
Hey guys, in my last video we talked about Harry Styles' new song Watermelon Sugar.
Oh, and you were prompted to make this video after that? God dang, we need to see that video. You know what? This is only a 9-minute video. Oh, I'm tempted to go into Watermelon Sugar. Let's hear him out, and then we might go on to that. Hold on. Ooh, I'm getting all like antsy now.
And some of the ways that I felt maybe it could have been done a little bit better. And while the vast majority of the feedback from—
Oh, jazz pianist reacts to Watermelon Sugar. How you think it could have been better? Nah, dude. Pop music's pop music for a reason. You can't add extensions to those chords and call it better. I haven't even watched the video. I'm making my assumptions about it. I can just only imagine. Like, imagine if I posted a video like that. Like, how I think Watermelon Sugar could be better. It needs more classical guitar. What's with these electric guitars being played? Where's my counterpoint? What's going on here? All right.
guys was overwhelmingly positive. A number of you brought up some really great points.
Your commenters brought up great points. Wow.
I thought it would be cool to talk about a few things in regards to sort of my approach to music and what my goals are for making videos analyzing other people's music, as well as why sometimes musicians like myself can often be snobs about music.
I don't get why he seems so apologetic about it. He earned the right to be a snob, right? Like, I feel like that's what you come to after a while. You grind and you grind. It's kind of like getting bullied in school and then you find a kid that's smaller than you. It's like now you get to bully. I feel like I'm spitting facts here.
If there's something that to my ear I feel like, well, maybe this could have been done differently, my hopes are maybe to submit some of those ideas to you guys with the ideal net gain being that collectively we can push music as a whole, no matter the genre, in a positive direction.
So that's your goal. I mean, that's a noble goal. I mean, I guess I look at complexity as like a spectrum, right? It's kind of like a dial you can just sort of turn. And strategies to make something extremely complex already exist. So I assume when something is simple, like especially like pop music, the producers just decided to make it simple. They could have made it complex, but they didn't. Like, probably because it's pop music. I guess I just assume that they already knew that they could have done that, but they chose not to. So it's like, yeah, I would like it to be more like this. And I don't mean complex is like the only thing you'd suggest, but like, I don't know, whatever.
Is this into an area where, fortunately, music is subjective?
No, it's not. Don't listen to him.
An idea that I or anybody else suggests as a way to make something better might very well be turning it into garbage to someone else. Musicians can often be snobby or elitist about music. Sometimes going maybe a little too hard on things that don't really deserve to be gone that hard on. Musically useless. I can't speak for any other musician.
What's musically useless? Oh man, I wish I knew what he was referring to there.
I started studying jazz when I was 14.
You weren't studying Guns N' Roses when you were 14 like me.
Brave mistake of conflating complexity with quality.
That's really funny too, because I would be elitist as a teenager about like pop music or like grunge and stuff because it didn't have guitar solos in it. Like, I'd hear the guitar solo and like Smells Like Teen Spirit and I'd be like, oh, like this sucks. Why didn't Kurt Cobain like practice more so he could do like an actual guitar solo? Which is so cringy for me to think back on now because I never listen to classic rock anymore, and I like do not like the flashy metal of like the 80s. but I used to love it. Like, it was really just the faster and more crazy the solos, the better. Like, that's just how my brain worked. Like, the music just was better. It's like I had no emotions at all. Because you listen to grunge, and it's like, it's all just sad, like, emotional music that I love now. It's like I just didn't have that as a kid. It's weird. That flashiness would just completely ruin it. It would so ruin it. It's funny how we change like that. Anyways.
I thought that anything that was not jazz was just garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't really that pleasant to be around because
I'm sure. I wasn't either. Especially as I grew older, like turning 20, that's when I actually started to appreciate like singing and music. And now like most of the music that I listen to just recreationally that's not classical music is like pop punk, like where the vocals are the main driver of the band and like the emotion in the vocals. That's like what I like the most. That's what I relate with the most, which is really weird. As a kid, it was all guitar. I did not care about the singing at all. It was just the guitar was what I was listening for. And if it didn't have a solo, it sucked, and that was it.
I didn't want to listen to anything else. I would talk down other kinds of music just because they were of a certain genre.
Yeah, what happened to us, man? We used to know what was up.
Truly an elitist and a snob. When I went to music school, one of the first things that I noticed was that my classmates and my professors and basically everybody around me, they were always talking with such admiration about genres of music that I had been looking down upon up until that point. And at first it caught me off guard because I thought to myself, like, you guys are...
Other people made you change, man. You should have just doubled down, been the elitist. You have to be really good, though, if you're going to be the elitist, which is like, that's sort of a line that I'm trying to toe. I have to get better, guys. I need to practice more. I need to get better if I'm going to keep making videos like these. Oh, man, yeah, this comment, like, perfectly sums it up, but it's one of me playing the fugue. It's alright, like this was from a few months ago before I started talking about like the interpretive stuff, and I brought on like my anonymous friend to help me with all that. But somebody posted lousy for someone that talks so much crap. That's the thing, you need to be good if you're gonna do what I'm doing here. I'm making myself very vulnerable.
We're all jazz musicians here, like why are you listening to this other stuff? Why are you talking like this other thing is good? How could it possibly be good?
Dude, you need to bring that guy back. Where is he? Don't listen to the haters, man. Be the hater. It makes you wonder, like what if everybody was like you at school? Would you just be like a horrible person to be around? Only jazz, nothing else.
It really forced me to listen to those types of music from a different perspective. And that is when my entire world changed forever. All of a sudden, I heard music that I had never heard before. I heard it in a way that I had never heard it. And I heard it with ears that were open to hearing things that I previously had written off as being just not good.
Yep, you know what this is right here? We're gonna go into another video.
The Mona Lisa, the Pietà, the girl with a pearl earring.
Ooh, that third one looks a little modern for what we're talking about here. I think it should be Renaissance and lower. I don't know about girl with the pearl earring. What is this? But this is what should have happened to you right here. You could have been a PragerU Republican guy.
For of centuries, artists enriched Western society with their works of astonishing beauty. The Night Watch.
Miles Davis.
The Thinker.
Charlie Parker. Was he a thinker? Maybe.
The Rocky Mountains.
Thelonious Monk.
Master after master, from Leonardo to Rembrandt to Bierstadt.
And now you've been brainwashed to like Harry Styles, man.
Improving upon the work of each previous generation of masters.
Yeah, that stopped after Bach, didn't it? That was a little hard to keep up with.
But something happened on the way to the 20th century.
And you know, I'm watching this, I'm pretending like I'm on this guy's side. My favorite kind of art is modern abstract art. Like, stuff like that. Like, I asked my mom specifically to paint that. I like stuff where, like, the cow that I have. You guys know the cow. Let me get my cow painting. You guys know it if you watch the practice log. Stuff like this. That early stuff is, like, devoid of any feeling at all. It's just, like, what it is in the style of the time. Believe me, I'm saying this as somebody who knows nothing about modern art. All of my education is in, like, classical and romantic music. It almost feels like music has always been very emotion-based. Like, even, like, classical, like, especially, God, romantic stuff. Like, it's a lot of it's like heart-wrenching, but I don't know, I feel like looking at the old art stuff, like let's see some of those again. It's hard for me to feel much looking at this. Like, it just kind of looks like a landscape. Like, I can see the appeal, but it just doesn't quite do what the modern stuff does for me. You know what I'm saying?
The inspiring and the beautiful were replaced by the new, the different, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Today, the silly, the pointless, and the purely offensive are held up as the best of modern art.
Can we get something that better represents purely offensive, please?
Carved his David out of a rock. The Los Angeles County Museum of Art just offers us a rock. A rock. All 340 tons of it. That's how far standards have fallen.
You present that to me. Something about that is kind of appealing, though. I'm supposed to be on his side. I'm sorry. Yeah. They just show you a rock? What are you, stupid? You like that?
How did the 1,000-year ascent towards artistic perfection and excellence die out? It didn't.
Oh. Okay, great. All right, so anyways, back... Now I'm going to hear him out.
It was pushed out. Beginning in the late 19th century, a group dubbed the Impressionists rebelled against the French Académie des Beaux-Arts and its demand for classical standards. Whatever their intentions, the new modernists sowed the seeds of aesthetic relativism, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder mentality.
How dare they? What? How could they do that? And you know, this is sort of separate from what he's saying, but I've been watching like a lot of debates and stuff recently. I've seen like Ben Shapiro. Like, I don't enjoy him. I don't have to agree with somebody to listen to them. I just listen and like disagree in my head. But I hear this from a lot of people, and there's even one commenter who left like a big stream of comments about this, how like music school is stupid. And like the whole point of music is just for like enjoyment, and then once you start like going into debt to like learn more and more, it's like a waste of time and dumb. Other words like that. And then you'll hear Ben Shapiro talk about how like the liberal arts are a waste of money and a waste of time. And I know he's into classical violin. He likes classical music. It's like, where do you think people are learning the instruments? You realize the symphonies that you people like listening to that you call like real music, they're all liberal arts majors with like blue hair, like playing in those symphonies. If people stop doing that, classical and jazz pretty much goes away. If there's no education around it, that's gone. And then what are you left with? Singer-songwriters. Oh God. That is who you're left with. And not even good ones, too, because if you listen to, like, country tracks, I know a lot of you guys like the country music, they all have, like, Nashville, like, professional, like, Berkeley-trained musicians playing all the country tracks, really. So even those, that's gone, too. What you get after that is just a guy, like, crappily playing chords on a guitar. You don't get any of those cool, like, country slide guitar solos that are, like, expertly done. And yeah, like, ideally you wouldn't go into debt. I think that there should be, like, funding for people to pursue liberal arts, because they are really good for just society in general. A lot of people should be artists, and a lot of people should study art and push art forward. And yeah, we might get into some like abstract stuff, but there's tons of bad classical music too. Like, we only remember the really good stuff, and there is going to be really good abstract stuff that we remember, and really good like silly stuff. Like right now we're in the moment, so of course you see all the crap, and it's like, most of this is crap, and it's like, yeah, it is. We're not going to remember that though, don't worry. We don't see all of the Renaissance paintings, because I'm sure a lot of them sucked. Don't worry, we only see the best ones. That's true for any era. Same thing with the classical canon. We have a classical music canon. There was way more music composed at that time. None of it made the cut of the canon, though. That's just kind of how this stuff works. When you're in the moment, you're gonna see everything, and most of it's garbage. So, you know, just chill out. We're not losing anything. I know that it seems like everybody used to only make good stuff, but we've always made crap.
Today, everybody loves the Impressionists. And as with most revolutions, the first generation or so produced work of genuine merit. Monet, Renoir,
Oh, you think Monet has genuine merit? How charitable of you.
and Degas still maintained elements of disciplined design and
I don't know, this looks like nothing to me. That Monet is like, what the heck am I looking at?
execution. But with each new generation, standards declined until there were no standards.
And then all there is up.
What was left was personal expression.
Yeah, dude, how dare they? No standards and only personal expression? And do you really think that that's the stuff that's going to be remembered for 200 years? And not the stuff that has standards and personal expression that just matches the style? There's a reason why all of us can only name one atonal composer. At least I can. There were more atonal composers, believe it or not, but they just get forgotten. Because for something like that, I feel like you really only need one. And if you go to school, you'll learn about others that have done different things, but the main one is Schoenberg, right? Yeah, same thing with this style. I think there's gonna be one person who put a rock on a thing, and they'll remember that as like, remember when we did that? Alright, and then we move on to something else. And it's part of the progression. I'm on like a whole new topic right
It's
now.
not merely a matter of
We were watching like Charles Cornell. What
personal
happened?
opinion, but to a high degree objectively traceable. But the idea of a universal standard of quality in art is now usually met with strong resistance, if not open ridicule.
By who? Who?
How can art be objectively measured? I'm challenged. In responding, I simply point to the artistic results produced by universal standards compared to what is produced by relativism. The former gave the world
Okay, let's see. This sucks. Am I gonna get demonetized for showing
The
this?
Birth of Venus and the Dying Gaul.
That's all right. I mean,
While
it's
the
okay.
latter has given us the Holy Virgin
I mean, there's something a little fishy about this, but I see the merit in it.
Mary, fashioned with cow dung and pornographic images, and Petra, the prize
Oh man, I mean, come on, it just brings a smile to your face.
winning sculpture of a policewoman squatting and urinating, complete with a puddle of synthetic urine.
I feel like it loses me a little bit on the synthetic part, but we'll move on.
Without aesthetic standards, we have no way to determine quality or inferiority. Here's a test I give my graduate students, all talented and well-educated. Please analyze this Jackson Pollock painting and explain why it is good.
This is a test you give your graduate students? What do they say? Do they actually like write a paper on this or something?
After they give very eloquent answers, that I inform them that the painting is actually a close-up of my studio apron.
You know, if those are your grad students, it's kind of your fault that they're giving that answer. They should look at that and be like, I don't know, this is crap, right? Hey man, you need to put that thing on display. That thing looks great.
I don't blame them. I would probably have done the same, since it's nearly impossible to differentiate between the two. If we are to be intellectually honest, we all know of situations where professional expertise is acknowledged and depended upon. Take figure skating in the Olympics, where artistic excellence is judged by experts in the field. Surely we would flinch at the contestant who indiscriminately threw himself across the ice and demanded that his routine be accepted as being as worthy of value.
Hey, I mean, somebody gave him a 5 though, right? That's worth something. Like, I guess if we're talking about universities, like, if you're taking, like, some crazy abstract class, I haven't had that experience personally in music school. Maybe it's you freaking visual artists that are dealing with this stuff. I don't think any artist is doing this and like expecting it to blow up. Like I think people just make stuff and then stuff just resonates, right? What's the Olympics for art? I guess like getting in a modern art museum. But what should the credentials be for being in a modern art museum? It's a modern art museum. You let anybody in there, right? It's just modern art. Just to say that there's no more like high quality art like nowadays is kind of silly, I think, because that's clearly not the case. So my point is that's what you should have been. God, why did we do that? All right. Hey, you know, we're gonna be here a while. This is a reaction video. All right, let's get to Harry Styles.
So many of you made really good points about my critique of Harry Styles' new song. And it got me thinking about a lot of this. Things like, well, isn't music supposed to be about breaking the rules and testing new boundaries? And yeah, yeah.
It was Harry Styles doing that. Harry Styles and the team. Okay, we need to check that video.
That's a really good point. And personally, for me, with that particular song, I don't think that's what they were trying to do, and I still think that the execution could have been.
It's all about intentions now. If it feels unintentional, then it's like discarded, right? Okay, I think that we need to watch his Harry Styles video. My groceries just arrived, and I'm like freaking starving, but we're gonna finish on this. Jazz pianist reacts to watermelon sugar. Oh man, oh, this is gonna be a good one.
Why do they have to? Why can't it just sound like that? Okay, yesterday Harry Styles.
Oh yeah, dude. It makes me sad seeing that first video because it seems like you're apologizing for a lot of this. I'm ready for some hate now.
Styles released a new music video called Watermelon Sugar, and today it has, let's see, 12.5 million views.
That hurts for a YouTuber too. When you see that on something that you hate, it's like, what? No, my highest video only has 20,000 views.
I mean, that's incredible. I can't do that.
Just do the math on all the money that would be. How much money would that be for me if I got 12 million views in one video? I'll do it for you. Oh, you know, that'd be a cool $20,000 at the very least. Compared to my highest like ad rates, it would be closer to like $60,000 or $80,000. So we're all just looking for the algorithm to just do that for us once, which Charles Cornell has actually achieved. I mean, this video has, all of his videos get millions of views.
I can't help but just notice a couple of things. Now, as you may have gathered in my last video, I am not in the business of tearing down music that probably a lot of people
I am.
like. I mean, that I don't even necessarily dislike. I think a few of you said on my last video, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. I'm not ragging on Harry Styles here because there's plenty of talent there and plenty of music that does sound good.
Know that you're trying to be friends. Know you mean it.
That's the standard? This is great and interesting.
Know that you're trying to be friends. Know you mean it.
That's why.
What? That sucked. Are you kidding me?
Good.
Don't call me baby again. You got your reasons. Know that you're trying to be.
I guess the only interesting part of that is maybe the piano and the syncopated like chord changes. Everything else, the vocal melody, the guitar tone, the drum beat, that all sucked. Are you kidding me?
Know that you're trying to be friends.
That's why
Yeah.
it leaves me so frustrated when I hear things like this. Let me explain.
I can't wait to hear what watermelon sugar sounds like. Oh my god.
Why make something, how do I say this without sounding too harsh, so musically useless? Nope, I did.
Wow. Okay, so that's where it came from. Hey, we figured it out. Awesome. All right.
I sound.
I like this Charles Cornell. I want to see more Charles Cornell like this.
This is a person that could literally do anything he wants. He could explore all kinds of different genres, and people are gonna check it out. Maybe not 12.5 million overnight, but probably a lot of people.
Oh, so this, I feel like this kind of comes from a place of like, you should be exploring new stuff because you have your platform. You must further the harmony's reach. You must do this. It's your responsibility, which is an interesting thought. Maybe it is his responsibility.
Tastes like strawberries on a summer evening.
By the way, this isn't, I don't get into lyrics because I'm not a poet. I don't know how to write lyrics. I have no authority to talk about lyrics, but watermelon on the table tastes like strawberry. Okay.
Wait, what? Is that what he said?
Strawberries on a summer evening.
Oh yeah, there was a watermelon on That is kind of funny, isn't it? Can we consider that intentional? I feel maybe not. I think they just kind of had a set and they didn't think about it. Because it's called watermelon sugar, and there's just, they mentioned strawberries. How many people wrote this? Like 10 people?
I want more berries and that summer feeling.
Well, they got watermelon. Is watermelon a berry? I want more berries. Is that really? God, that kind of isn't that great.
So wonderful and warm.
All right, so, pretty simple. So it's in.
Can somebody tell me what watermelon sugar is about? Can you like in depth tell me what it's about, please? Thank you.
Right, the song is in C. We start on the 4, and we go up to the minor 6. And it sounded like it's the 1 chord, but I think it was the 5 in the bass
The cadential 6/4.
to the actual 5.
Yeah, that is a cadential 6/4.
Something like that, I think. So far, not bad. I just already get the vibe that this is a totally fabricated, this is going to be the summer hit as we enter, we're approaching the end of May, June 21st, first day of summer. We gotta have a summer hit, right? I mean, what's summer 2020 without a good summer hit?
Breathe me in, breathe me out.
This is where I start to have an issue. Okay, so we're constantly coming back to this 9th as a melody note, okay? Now, the problem I have with it is this melody just feels like somebody came up to Harry with a hat and written on little pieces of paper in the hat are the notes of the major scale, and they just said, hey, Harry, pick 5. Okay, I don't know, here. Okay, sounds good. Did we have an order for this? No? Order doesn't matter? Got it. All right, there's your melody. Boom, done. The whole thing. That's it.
Is that really how you feel? Why?
Half of the lines in here they don't make sense. And this is another thing, we talked about this in the last video where it's like, is it technically correct? I mean, sure, in that the notes are not necessarily outside of the notes that will work with the chords you're using, but are they maybe in sequence, or I don't know how else to put that, but basically in such an order so as to make a melody that is not completely devoid of definition. And that's sometimes.
What? I feel like you need to back up what you're saying here, because I'm honestly lost. I have no issue with the melody so far. It seems like a normal melody with like a repeating idea. Da 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 da. It's not like random, like da 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 da. I don't know. It seems normal.
The problem with melodies like this is that they're absolutely not memorable in any way, shape, or form. Again.
Well, what does that matter? That's not the part that needs to be memorable though. Without even hearing the song, I know da 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 watermelon sugar. That's the only part you need to remember for this. And then that song is now stuck in your head. I don't know, which like you can say like maybe that's annoying or like maybe the whole song should be memorable. But I mean, I don't think that's the goal. I think the goal was for the song to just be a virus that just infects everybody during the summer of 2020. And watermelon sugar, ba-da-da-da-da-da. That's like all you need. I don't really agree with what you're saying here.
Nothing fundamentally wrong. Are they particularly good choices? Not really. I mean,
why? Like, I need you to explain why and what's a better choice.
From the 3rd to the 2nd or the 9th, and then we land on the 6th.
Yeah, like the pentatonic scale? What's wrong with that?
Fine. No, nothing wrong with that. This is the line that I probably have the biggest issue with, because that F, it just doesn't sound like it fits there. It doesn't sound wrong because it's technically not really wrong. It just doesn't really serve.
Wait, what key are we in? I don't even know. So he's harping on it hitting the 9th, like, in a row. It just gives me, like, a Dorian vibe, which is, you know, like, modal. We're kind of getting into jazz territory here. I have no issue with that. Like, what do you want it to do? Go, like that or something? It's definitely like a Dorian sounding melody. And I hear what you're saying by it's not memorable. I don't think that that's a requirement. I actually think it's harmonically interesting because it's landing on that second scale degree.
It just doesn't really serve any purpose. It doesn't lead us anywhere. It gives us no information. It's just kind of there.
Yeah, it's tense, which, like, the subject matter of the song, I'm pretty sure, is something that we don't really discuss here on Sore Hands. But that subject matter involves, like, tension, am I right? It's a pretty tense note to keep going back to. It's almost like kind of a tease. I think that it was on purpose, and it makes sense to me. You know, whatever.
Movement. No.
I don't know if I could ever go without.
There's something missing with it that's making it not work to me.
It's weird how two people can hear things so differently, because I hear that and I find that very interesting. There's something to that. Like, obviously it's in, like, kind of a wrong place. Like, it's not very resolved. There's just a lot of tension in what he's singing. It sounds purposeful though, and I like it.
You have this C major chord with no alterations. It's just pure, just C major. And our melody note is now an F. The natural 4 over top of the major chord just doesn't really work that well. That's why in jazz, when we have a major chord like that, even if it has a little more content, we're talking about upper extensions and stuff, we're gonna fill out the chord more, we're not really gonna use that natural 4. We're gonna use the sharp 4 because it sounds so much smoother, it's so much better. It just has such a more pleasant quality than if I go.
The 4 is used over a C major chord. Like, I think in this case it's just like a tension. I don't know, I hear what you're saying, but I still disagree. I think that it's fine. It doesn't sound weird to me. So I think, is this whole video just about how he doesn't like the 4? You really want him singing a sharp 11 there? I don't know. I have a feeling that in this summer hit, that's not going to be happening. I don't think anybody cares to have that. But I do appreciate your elitism that has leached into, like, popular music, and you're like, why not throw some sharps in the upper extensions there, right? It sounds better. To me, as a jazz musician, it sounds better. I disagree. I think the melody is fine, and I think it makes sense. Like, it's not supposed to be smooth there. Like, I think it's all leading up to the chorus, which is then the part that's sort of the release, the watermelon sugar. But I don't know. I don't really know much about the song anyways. Let's check out some of these comments here. Pop needs more spice, adds ninths. No, let me explain. I think this comment pretty much sums it up. Analyzing pop songs from a jazz theory perspective won't make sense in the same way that analyzing a jazz song from a Baroque theory perspective won't make any sense either. Yeah. I remember freaking out about a 1-5-4 progression all root position in Baba O'Reilly because my teacher said that it almost never happens in chorales. Yeah, exactly. You would never play a jazz tune with just the 11 in the upper extension. Like, obviously, of course, right? But yeah, this is different. Also, I'm not analyzing the melody or anything, but it does sound like vaguely Dorian, like, because of the melody. But, let me look at it. I didn't want to do this. Hold on. I can't show most of this. This one? No, it's not that one. We're looking at this one. Hey, this is the morning after Cameron. So I was just editing this video, and by the time we got to the watermelon sugar part, I was already pretty out of it and, like, not wanting to listen or anything like that. So I wasn't fully understanding what he was saying. But since editing, I've heard him now, so let me actually talk about everything that he's saying and sort of try to unpack it. Which, it was a little confusing in the video because he kept focusing on this. He said that the chords are a 4, and it's all in C major, is what he said. 4, a 6, a 1, or I think he said a 1 in second inversion, and then it goes to the 5. Which, when I listened to it, my initial reaction was just this: D minor to A minor. So we agree on that, and then I just hear just a C major, and then to G major. So the whole, like, C major over G thing, I'm having kind of trouble hearing. I could give it another pass or so. But I heard D minor for that first chord, which is the 2 chord. And after listening to it, if you hear the bass, it is actually way up there on F. But I think I at first heard it as D minor because the melody is punching on D so much. Because if we listen to this song, I mean, just like, I'll just play a little bit of it. That's D. Like, what note sounds like the root to you? You know? So when we have that D, like, getting punched in the melody, along with the chords of an F major chord, I think a D minor chord is pretty easy to hear from that, or like a D minor 7. And now, he was getting upset about F in the melody while we're playing a C major. He didn't like that. You know, as a jazzer, you never play the 4, you play the sharp 11 if you're ever doing that, which would give us this. That's the gist, instead of this. And that's just what he's hearing. He also has like a trained jazz ear, and some of those chords might have been wrong. I'm not like dying by anything that I just played there. There is a reason to play a natural 4 in that sort of scenario instead of a sharp 4. And I think my best argument for it is that this song definitely, in my opinion, is supposed to be heard with D as the tonal center. So we're in C major, like he said, but D is what we're hearing as the root. That means that we're in Dorian. Okay, I filmed this like 20 minutes ago. This is really bad, but let me clarify more. I keep saying it's in Dorian. It has Dorian vibes. That's what I want you to get, and that's why the F natural makes sense instead of playing the F sharp. It's not actually in Dorian, because like if you hear a Dorian song, it'll kind of oscillate between like chords that keep going back to like D minor or whatever your root is. And you'll have a melody that kind of sounds like that. That was kind of a bad Dorian melody, but, you know, this song, like, it goes through, like, that's pretty functionally C major. That's not Dorian. But that's besides the point, because the melody and the music and what I'm about to explain is, it has Dorian vibes. Like, the melody, like, is quite Dorian because it hits, like, the D, it keeps doing that, and the F natural's argument for that. That's why I hear it as that. And I'm going to explain, like, in this next part, how, like, the chord progression might sort of suggest that, just because there's no, like, function, or there is function, but not as strong as the function could be. There's no, like, dominant chords, like, leading you places or anything. So it's easy to kind of settle on D as your root, especially with the melody. The melody really drives that home, and that's kind of the important part of, like, having a mode as a tonal center, the melody. Okay, that's it. That clarifies stuff. Yeah, sorry. It's two things. Like, not having any particular kind of leading tone. So, like, when we play G, we're not playing G7. We're not leading anywhere. No E7s ever occur. That would lead us to, like, the relative minor, A minor. It's just sort of chords, triads, sort of moving around in, like, mostly median movement. Like, we're going F to A to C. You know, things are just kind of moving around nebulously. There's no strong, like, lead. Like, we're not moving around like that. And then the second part, and probably the most important part to make you hear Dorian, is that the melody has to emphasize the root of the mode that you're in. So in this case, that note. And now I think F would be played because F, which that's in the Dorian mode. If you randomly switch to F sharp, we now have this like C Lydian / like leading tone to G, which now our ear is on G. So I think there's good reason to keep an F natural, just to keep it consistent, so our ear is not changing from versus. So there's that, and then there's also the natural darkness that I think occurs with playing the natural 4 that I think fits the melody well, and that's a very subjective thing, of course. I don't think that the sharp 11 is what that melody needed. I think it would be a little, like, weird to throw that in. I feel like him saying the sharp 11 would be similar to me saying, like, why doesn't the song have some classical convention that I'm used to seeing in my classical music? Wouldn't that make the song better? And the answer is, like, maybe it would, but also maybe not. The way I see the song, this is a chord progression that has a Dorian melody over it that's centering on D. And I would imagine that the songwriters didn't really look at the counterpoint of the melody. What I bet happened is they just kind of put a track together, and Harry Style had some lyrics, and he probably just started like riffing over it. Da, da, da. And his ear was naturally drawn to D, I think because of that chord progression, and then because of that, we're now kind of in D. And I think that's why his ear was drawn to F rather than F sharp. And that's why we hear it as Dorian now. Like, listen to the song yourself and play any of the notes of the C major scale and which one sounds like the home bass root note. It's D to me. So, you know, I think it would be weird to have an F sharp present in your Dorian song. I feel like that's not a crazy thing to say. So no to F sharp. Feel free to argue with me in the comments though. I welcome that. Back to the video. I disagree, I guess. That's all I'm saying. Anywho, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up here. Man, this is quite the video, huh? Hey, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Want some guitar lessons? I'll teach you how to play classical guitar. Look at my shorts, look at my recordings. There's one item in it. There'll be more soon. Don't worry. You can listen to that, watch my practice logs, and hear me play there too. Of course, if you want some merch, head on down over to Rootin's Delight, pick yourself up some merch, and yeah, leave some comment questions about some stuff, and I'll answer it in the chair at some point. Alright. I'll see you in the next one.